Today's video is going to be about the energy you put out is the energy you receive, and what made me want to talk about that is I was having a conversation yesterday with a lady, and you know I'll get into that in about, I guess, 2 to 3 minutes about what that conversation was. But there were two things I wanted to touch on. One of them was a personal story. Well, actually, a couple personal stories. I was dating this young lady when I was in high school, 99, 2000. And she was very, for lack of a better term, I guess you want to say, very developed. She had a very curvaceous body. And you know, she was very attractive in that way physically. And I remember one day we were getting ready to go out. Now, 90% of the time, she was wearing clothes that you would say were a bit form-fitting or revealing. And that day, she decided to put on a skirt. And it was one of those skirts where every few moments she's walking, you have to, uh, pull it down a little bit, right? She has to, tug at her skirt. And my grandmother and my great grandmother lived nearby where she lived. And so typically, if I was over that way, I would stop over there, just to see how they were doing or whatever. So we're getting ready to leave, and I told her, okay, well, we're going to stop, by my grandmother's house or whatever. And she was like, oh, no, I can't go over there just like this. I got to change. And I'm like, why? I said, why are you worried about changing now? I was like, you were like okay with wearing that out and about. Well, she didn't want to dress that way in front of my family, right? She didn't want to be perceived a certain type of way because of her attire, right? And on a certain level, I do get that. She didn't want them to think, negatively of her because of what she was wearing. And, I can appreciate that. And I did appreciate her feeling that way instead of, being like, okay, well, I can wear whatever I want to wear, and I'm going to do this, right? And that was at a very young age. She had that, perspective, right? Another incident that it kind of involved me, well, it didn't, I want to say kinda, it did involve me because it was about me. And so, this was years later. I'm older, dating this lady, and we were getting ready to go to the store. And I had on these great basketball shorts, and she was like, "No, you can't wear that." And I'm like, "Why?" She says, "Because when you walk, I can see you, and you can use your imagination, right?" And I said, "No one's looking at me." And she's like, "Yes, people do look in that area. Women do look in that area." And she would have been more comfortable with me if I wouldn't change. And so I did that as a matter of respect to her, right? And so the energy I wanted back from doing that is, okay, I respected your perspective about what it was that you didn't like. You know, she wasn't nasty about it. She simply stated how she felt. And I took that into consideration and I acted on it, right? The young lady I dated when I was younger, she didn't want the energy out there that she wasn't who my family thought she was based on her attire, because my mother, my grandparents, they came from a different generation, and they would, peep out a woman or a young lady immediately, and they used terms like they fast, they manage, all these other, terms of that, a young lady can get, placed on her based on how she was dressed or her attitude and things like that. So anyway, I was talking to the lady yesterday, and well, prior to the conversation, I sent her a meme, and the meme was in regards to wearing shorts, right? And they were very short, and I forget exactly how it was worded, but it was worded in such a way where it was, um, you know, it was like a little kid looking back, like they were about to get into some trouble, and he looked back, kind of like, do they see me? And it stated, when your man asks ask where you're going in those little shorts, and her response to that was, "And I'm still going out in them." We want to use that response in the two situations that I told you about prior, and use everything into proper context and bring it all back together. So the same lady, we were having a conversation, and she's gotten herself together physically, and so, like any woman, they go buy new clothes, they're feeling good about themselves, and so they're wearing these clothes, they're posting these photos of themselves, and the energy that she was receiving was, for lack of a better term, toxic. It's people making rude and sexually aggressive comments about what it was that she was wearing or whatever, or just making stupid comments in general, right? And we were texting, but we had a later, excuse me, later verbal conversation. And at first, she wasn't, you know, feeling what I was saying in regards to that, because I think she said one of her co-workers said that she was thirst trapping. And if you don't understand what that means, that basically means when a woman is, I guess, being seductive or putting out photos to garner a certain reaction from men, right? And she was like, no, I'm not doing that, right? I'm not, trying to, be that way, right? But it goes back to what I was saying earlier about energy. The energy you put out is the energy you're going to receive. And sometimes that energy isn't always good, right? And that doesn't necessarily also mean, so let me clarify that, it doesn't mean that what the men were doing or saying was proper either, because no matter how a person is dressed, it's not it's not up to you to make determinations about who they are, because anybody who spent any time in the church system understands that some of the most adulterous, fornicating people, and including the women, are found there, and so a lot of them are dressed from head to toe, covered, but they're out doing scandalous things. And just because someone's dressed a certain way doesn't mean that you are to make assumptions about them. But what it does do is bring out the wolves, right? Someone like myself, I don't play those games, right? But other people, because men are carnal by nature. That's just how we're programmed, right? You can be dressed from head to toe, and some men don't know how to control their carnal nature, and they want to see what's going on, even if you're dressed, in a long dress from head to toe, got your head covered up. And so it's only amplified if you are dressed a certain way, right? And again, that's not to say that in some way it's proper for them to do that, but it's to say that energy that's being put out there. So we had a long conversation, not too long in regards to that, but we were talking, I think towards the end of it, of us discussing that. I don't really know if she really, agreed with what I was saying, but I think there was some level of understanding towards the end, right? And I was trying to convey about the energy you put out there. Like, if I decided right now to go put on some white bicycle shorts, and I wear a cutoff shirt, like a halter top up to here, and I decide I'm going to go to the grocery store, and people look at me and they're making comments or they're saying, rude things. Well, you know, I thought I looked good, right? I was full of confidence, but I put out there that energy, and so whatever comes back to me in regards to how I dress, I have to accept that. And that's all I was trying to convey to her. I wasn't saying to her, hey, you shouldn't dress like that. You should cover up more. You shouldn't post that. What you choose to do is your business, right? At the end of the day. But we don't get to control others people's reactions to us, right? We can't control that. We can only control how we're perceived. And so if excuse me, we can only control our behavior. We can't control other people's perception about what we wear and what we do, you know. So if you are confident and you don't care about that, then you go on, doing what you've been doing and don't stop, right? But if it's giving you cause for concern, you may want to scale it back a bit, or you may want to reanalyze, how you're going about doing things. And it's not to be in a negative or controlling or demeaning way from a male perspective. It's more of, like I used the example of me. Like if I was to go out wearing something like that, you know, I have to take the hits, and whatever people say or think about me, I have to deal with it. And, if I post a photo of myself like that, and, I know all my homeboys gonna be like, bro, what you doing? Like, you got something to tell us? Like, it's gonna be that kind of energy, and no matter if that's not the case or not, if I just thought I looked good in it, I have to take the hits with that. I have to, be able to take the jokes, the ribbing, the everything that comes with it, and I have to be okay with it. Like yesterday, I posted this video. One of my homeboys, like anybody that knows me personally knows I've been having a bit of a vision problem, and my left eye for some reason is kind of off right now. It's like a lazy eye almost. It's like drooping. And one of my homeboys said, because I don't really like, sometimes I have my glasses off. I've taken photos with my glasses off, but it's not as pronounced. And I think, yesterday it was pronounced. And he was like, did you have a stroke or something? And I'm like, bro, no. I was like, that's just, it's just happened over time. I don't know if it has something to do with my vision getting bad or what, but I took the ribbon, and they clowned me in the group chat for about a good 2 hours, posting pictures of Forrest Whitaker, and I had to take it, because when you put yourself out there on social media, you have to be able to take the hits. You got it. Like, I was okay with taking the compliments yesterday when people made uh, said complimentary things about what I did, and they didn't have anything bad to say about it, but they found something to talk about, right? They found something to joke about. So I had to take the hits, and I had to, take it in stride, right? And that's all I'm saying about, the dress, or the attire that any woman chooses to wear, or man for that matter as well. You have to be able to, take the hits. And if it's something where it's too abrasive or too disrespectful, then you have to address that person at the level that you're at with them. If it's somebody you don't know, don't matter, block them. If it's somebody that you know personally, let them know, hey, you can't come at me like that. You can't talk about me like that. And you have a serious conversation with them, and you move forward. Or you can do the latter. You can cover up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, or even don't post as much of that. So post more of your personality, so people can be like, oh, okay, I see who this person is. And then every once in a while, you drop that nice photo, right? Nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, like, I wanted to convey to that person that there wasn't anything necessarily wrong with them, right? and it wasn't anything necessarily wrong in what happened, but I wanted them to understand that that's the energy you're putting out. So if you're putting out a certain vibe, and that was a word that was used during our conversation, you're putting out a vibe, you know, other people are going to assume something, right? And like I said, it's not safe to assume. Like I said, you can't assume because a woman goes to church and she reads a Bible that she's this supreme, epitome of womanhood, of being chaste and being, really nice and genteel. Sometimes it's the direct opposite. They can be narcissistic, they can be controlling, they can be verbally abusive, they can be demeaning to you, you know, and they can be out there in the streets doing all types of things with people. So, it's not safe to assume, but unfortunately, we don't live in that world, where people shouldn't assume certain things based on optics, right? We live in a world where people make assumptions without knowing people, fully. You know, I've known her for over 2 years now, and so I'm not gonna look at an outfit and be like, aha. Just like the young lady I was dating earlier on in life, it wasn't anything where she was a bad person. She was very genteel. She didn't have a bad or nasty attitude, didn't have a bad disposition, very nice, very kind. But, that was the style, and so certain things are in style now. And I'm not here to be the fashion police and say, no, a lady shouldn't wear that, you know, but at the same time, if you're going to wear it, there's going to be some hits that you may have to take. And if you're okay with taking those hits, then by all means do it. Just like me, getting in front of this camera and being told I look like Forrest Whitaker. um, that's something that, I have to deal with. I have to take it. And, criticism comes with everything. So, you know, but I would like to tell that person, hey, you know who you are. And I think sometimes they question whether or not they're a good person. And I think they are a good person, but like all of us, including myself, are flawed. And what we have to do is look at where we're flawed and try to get better, and that's all we can do. But anyway, that's enough for today. I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you have a great Sunday and have a great week.